Loki is the third MCU TV series and stars Tom Hiddleston once again as the God of Mischief. A 2012 variant of the original Loki is taken in by an organization known as the TVA, who are in charge of keeping the sacred timeline intact, and while in custody, Loki makes it his goal to get to the bottom of who's behind the creation of the TVA. If you haven't seen Loki yet, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil a single thing besides the plot, which I already went through, so at this point you're safe. I have reviews from earlier in the year for both WandaVision and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. WandaVision had a really cool concept, but the execution throughout the show, especially towards the end, was not great and not nearly as good as it could have been, whereas the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was fine throughout, but never reached a point where I thought the show was great. However, Loki is by far the best TV series we've gotten for the MCU. With Loki's 6 episodes, there is not a single dull moment. I was constantly invested. There is not an episode where there's just a bunch of walking and talking like in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This show always moves. And surprisingly, despite the show's fast pacing, it never jumps around. It always keeps its focus on the show's main character, Loki, and it doesn't keep cutting back and forth between the main character and some boring villain that we don't care about, or even some minor characters that we also don't care about at all. As for our main character, Loki, played once again by Tom Hiddleston terrifically, he really shines here, and I know that Hiddleston has played this character multiple times already in the MCU, but this might be the best we've ever gotten out of Hiddleston as the character, which is extremely impressive. As for his co-stars, one of the new characters introduced is Sylvie. They work perfectly off of each other. They both have large egos, and they still have a lot to learn about how their decisions have affected other people. Plus, every character's motivation is made perfectly clear. There isn't a character whose motivation I felt was iffy. You truly understand where everyone is coming from in this series, whether it's Loki, Sylvie, or even the character Renslayer. And what about Owen Wilson as his new character Mobius? My goodness, is it great to see Owen Wilson back in mainstream media. It feels like it's been years since I've seen this guy in anything of large magnitude, but now he's back and he's better than ever. He, of course, is delightful as always and plays a very likable character. And something else I would like to point out is that while the universe of Loki is really big, there is so much here that we've never seen before in the MCU. I'm talking millions upon millions of miles that the MCU has not covered yet. It's a very big, extremely complex world and sometimes a little bit difficult to follow, but they make the story easy to follow. It's simple. Loki has one goal in mind: to figure out who is behind the creation of the TVA. That's it, and he enlists some help from other people. That's all we get, guys, and that's pretty much all I ever could ask for. Not to mention that the show is so creative and unique. I thought the TVA was a really cool organization. It's so fascinating. It's sort of like that outside-the-box way of thinking that Pixar has. It's a very unique show, one of the most creative properties for the MCU thus far. I love it when creators are given tons of freedom, and it's pretty obvious here that the creators of Loki were given plenty of that. Lastly, unlike the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision, and of course no spoilers, but it's nice that Loki does not end with some large MCU battle like those two did. I honestly get really sick and tired of it because it's just so repetitive. We've seen it time and time again. So for this show to not do that is something that I really appreciated. My only negative for Loki is that the show is not finished yet. It's only through 1 season and they leave it off with a cliffhanger, which is fine, but it would have been nice had they thread everything together. Loki's arc still is not complete, as well as the arcs for the rest of the characters. There is so much that is left to be desired with this show. Either way, I am super stoked for season 2 of Loki, and not only did this show set up a second season, but it also sets up the rest of phase 4 for the MCU. I am giving season 1 of Loki an A-. I wasn't the biggest fan of the first 2 MCU shows, but the moment that I realized that Loki is a great one, I was ecstatic. But of course, guys, if you also have your thoughts on the TV series Loki, if you've seen it, be sure to let me know down below in the comment section what your thoughts are of it. And as always, guys, if you are new to my channel, click the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.